What's happening, geezer? Another video. Another one. Respect the hustle. Do you know how long these take to build? But today, we've got another one. We've got the meal planning, the meal building structure of how you're actually going to build your meals depending on your body type. And we've got it all here. It's black and white. A 10-year-old could understand this, okay? I've got down here, depending on what your goals are for your body type. We're going to go through it right now. This is going to be a shorter one. I know I say that every time, and I'm lying. And I'm probably lying to you now, but I'm letting you know. You might be here a little bit longer than expected, but you're going to be able to see how long the video is anyway, so I don't know what I'm thinking. So we start here with the meal building. What body type do you have? You pick the body type that looks most like you right now, but I'm going to go through it. And if you want this document, message me on Instagram and I'll send it through to you. The link to my Instagram will be in the description. But let's start off with skinny. You're light, you're lean, and you struggle to gain size. You look a little bit like this fella over here. Very skinny, you can see some bones. We don't want that. Your main goal should usually be to build muscle. Now, everyone's obviously got a different goal. Your goal could be to get fat. Does that make sense to me? Absolutely not. But maybe you want to get fat. But your goal should be to build muscle. So goal is to build muscle. Your calorie surplus is going to be 500 calories. When I was skinny, because I started out here, I've actually been skinny. I've been skinny fat and I've been overweight. Your goal should be to gain the muscle but eat as much as possible, because my metabolism, which is what I used to blame it on, was very high. It was, but high metabolism means you usually burn at rest like 200 to 300 calories more than the average person. But also the main thing for me was my appetite. I would not really starve myself, but I'd wake up in the morning, I couldn't eat anything. Then midday would come and I'd eat something small, and then I'd eat a huge meal. I'd eat a huge meal at dinner, and then I'd be like, well, I'm so full now, it's dinner. I must have had so many calories. I must have had 4,000 calories. But then I tracked it one day and it was like 1,500. It was like 2K. And I was burning like 2,500. So I was in a deficit when I thought I was in a surplus. So your goal should be a surplus of 500 calories. You're going to monitor how your body reacts to that. And it's got to be consistent. You can't be having 500 one day over in a surplus and then 500 below the next day. You're going to stay the same. I know it's hard in the beginning. I know it is. I've been there. I've literally been at each of these body types and I fixed it and I look like I do today. So you're speaking with someone who's got experience. Well, you're not speaking, you're watching. I'm speaking to you. Speaking to myself, really, because this is just a face cam. A bit weird, I'm a bit strange, I need to get a life. Spend too much time indoors. 1 gram per pound of body weight is your protein goal. Not gonna go into that, you hear it all the time. Fats, 0.3 to 0.5 grams per pound of your body weight. Carbs, fill the rest of your daily calories with carbs. You need to be energized. Carbs are essential when bulking and building muscle and losing fat, but your goal as a skinny guy is to lose the muscle, is to build the muscle. If you are skinny, you do not need to focus on losing fat. You haven't got any. You need to eat enough food, hit your protein, and train hard so your body has what it needs to grow. I've talked about this in previous videos, so I'm just gonna skim over it now. Watch the fat loss puzzle, watch the fat loss armory. What other one? I mean, I've got so many videos on activate the muscles, activate the growth signal. That's another one that's unbelievable for specifically training. But you need everything to be working together. You need your body to adapt. Your body is wired for survival. How does your body survive? It learns to cope with the stress that it's being put under. The stress is the training, is the weight training. So you going in and giving it comfort, which is 3 sets of 10, and then stopping at 10, even though you had 5 reps left in the tank, you're leaving reps in the tank, which means you're leaving gains on the table. So go and watch Activate the Growth Signal YouTube video that I posted a few YouTube videos ago. Then you've got skinny fat. You're not very heavy, but you carry fat around your stomach, chest or waist. You look like this. You can't see any ab definition, just spat on the screen there. That's lovely, Leon. Brilliant, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, mate. You're skinny fat. You're not very heavy, but you carry fat around your stomach, your chest or your waist. You look like this fella right here. You can't see your abs. Your main goal should usually be to lose the fat and build the muscle at the same time, which is possible, but apparently the fitness industry thinks that's impossible. So that's your goal, build muscle and lose fat. Small deficit of 200 to 300 calories. Now, when you work your stuff out, your numbers out on these websites, they're not gonna be 100% accurate, they're not. So you have to see how your body adapts and adjusts to this 200 to 300 calorie deficit from what you work out. And then depending on how aggressive the fat loss is, if there is any at all, and the weight on the scale, then you obviously adjust your approach from there. Again, same with protein, 1 gram per pound of body weight. Fats stay the same, 0.3 to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. And then again, fill the rest of your calories with carbs. Always fill the rest of your calories with carbs. If you hit your protein goal in 1,500 calories, but you've got a 2,500 calorie goal allowance, you've got 1,000 calories left. Do not eat more protein. I've talked about this before. I talk about it in my reels, in my Instagram, link in description all the time. Do not eat more protein. Eat more carbs, because carbs are going to give you the energy to be able to use the protein and function correctly. If you are skinny fat, you do not just need to lose weight. You need to build muscle while slowly reducing the body fat. And this is where a lot of skinny fat guys go wrong, because they end up looking like a smaller version of themselves, even though they're in a calorie deficit. They focus so much on a calorie deficit that they end up throwing away the muscle and the fat, okay? Muscle is this big, fat is this big, and they weigh the exact same. Muscle is much denser than fat. Your body will throw away muscle as well if you're not giving it enough energy. Energy is calories to maintain that physique you've got. It has to adjust to become the body for the amount of calories that you're giving it, if that makes sense. If you're giving your body 1,000 calories per day, over time, your body will then adapt to be able to survive on 1,000 calories per day. Who survives on 1,000 calories per day? A 6-year-old girl. And you don't want to look like a 6-year-old girl, mate, all right? So, overweight. You carry more body fat than you want. We already know what overweight means. Your main goal should be to lose the fat while maintaining the muscle. Your main goal here should be to get fat off as quickly as possible within reason, because we do not want to be doing it in an unhealthy way. Your goal is to lose fat. Your deficit should be 500 to 1,000 calories depending on the amount of body fat. More fat means a bigger deficit. You're not going to need as many carbs, as many extra calories, as much energy, because your body will take that energy from your fat. Because you've got too much fat, it will be trying to get rid of that fat. So depending on how overweight you are and depending on how much fat you hold, depends on how aggressive you go into a deficit. Hoping that makes sense. 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. Now, if you're doing your body weight and you're eating 1 gram per pound, but you're 150 kilograms or you're 300 pounds, let's say, then that's too much protein. You want to be either going 0.7 grams per pound of body weight, which I always recommend, but ideally have your goal weight in mind. If you're 150 kilograms or you're 300 pounds, let's do it in pounds so it's easier, and you want to get down to 250 pounds, do everything based on your goal weight. So 250 grams of protein, that's still a lot, but do it on your goal weight, not the weight you are now, because the weight you are now is majority fat. Protein is for lean muscle mass. So 1 gram per pound of lean muscle mass, but 1 gram per pound of body weight is always what you should do, because even if you fall short and you get, let's say, 0.7 grams, then you're still getting an adequate amount for your body to function properly with the protein that it's got. Again, with fat, 0.3 to 0.5 grams per pound, but this time of your goal body weight, like I've just said. And then fill the rest of your calories with carbs. But obviously, more deep of a deficit if you're more overweight. If you are overweight, the main goal is to lose the body fat, but you still need protein and weight training so you can keep your muscle while the fat comes down. I know that your main priority if you're severely overweight is not to look like a bodybuilder, it's to lose the fat. But you still want to be having the muscle. Weight training is so important no matter how much you weigh or your size. So we take it back to the beginning. If you're skinny, then we go down here. So now we go down here to the meal building section. Now, all of these decide what section you're going to use down here. But before we get into that, you need to understand this. Calories decide whether your weight goes up or it goes down. That's the surface, which is why people focus on a deficit too much. They don't focus on the macros, and then they end up looking like a smaller version of themselves. They still remain skinny fat. They're just 10 kilograms lighter, so they're just a smaller version. So calories decide whether your weight goes up or down, but macros decide, that's the layer underneath, how your body looks at that specific weight. I'm hoping that makes sense. Calories are important, but macros are very important if you want to look like a certain image that you have in mind, have a certain body at that weight. What we're going to do now is we're going to orchestrate your meals if you're a skinny guy. If you're a skinny guy, you come down here to the build muscle section. We have a small calorie surplus as we've gone over. Eat slightly more than your body uses as we've gone over. Starting target is around 200 to 300 calories above maintenance. We've gone over that. So these are your protein sources. Now, as you can see, all of these, you'll see a recurring theme. You'll see a recurring theme in these throughout the whole meal building section, no matter what your goal is and your body type is, but the fat percentages will change. I don't change my diet. Nothing changes about my diet if I'm cutting, if I'm trying to lose fat and build muscle, if I'm trying to build muscle, if I was trying to lose all my muscle. Nothing changes. The only thing that changes is the fat percentage on some foods. 20% fat beef mince is going to be a lot higher calories than 5% fat beef mince. Do you understand? The fattier options are more calorie dense because fats are 9 calories per gram, as opposed to proteins 4 calories per gram and carbs 4 calories per gram. They're literally double as calorie dense for such a little amount, which is why you have to be careful, but you're obviously trying to get as many calories as possible if you're skinny, which is why these are the higher fat options. Greek yogurt, amazing, 5% fat, 10% fat Greek yogurt if you've got it. This is Fahi, but these are the options, right? I always get the 5% or 10% if I'm trying to bulk. 18 or 20% fat beef mince. The fattier steaks, eggs, because the yolk in them is so amazing. Fattier fish, aka salmon. Cottage cheese, the high fat option. This says low fat, but I couldn't find a high fat one. Just use the high fat option, which is 10%. Eat enough protein to repair and grow your muscle. 1 gram per pound of body weight. You're going to hear that a lot. You hear it a lot online, but you hear it because it's true. So then we move over to carbohydrates. Now, I always talk about sweet potatoes and potatoes being amazing. That's because they're so high in volume for so little calories, and they have fiber in them, which then delays your digestion process and slows it down. So you get 2 benefits, basically both working towards the same goal of keeping you fuller for longer, okay? But carbs, you won't see them here. Because with building muscle, we want to be having as little portion-wise for as much calories as possible, because your appetite will not be high. I went through this as well. So you want to be having the honey, the medjool dates, the bananas, the rice cakes, the cream of rice, all around your workouts 20 to 30 minutes before, so that they can hit your bloodstream. There's no fats and there's no fibers in them. That is key with anything that is pre-workout. There's no fats and there's no fibers because they slow down your digestion. The whole point here is to spike your insulin so it goes straight to your bloodstream and digests quickly. You get that with white rice. You get that with medjool dates. Now, medjool dates, honey, bananas, white rice and cream of rice, they're all amazing pre-workouts, 20 to 30 minutes before. Everything else you see here is good because it's more calorie dense. White rice is an amazing source of carbohydrates too, but it's fast digesting and is better to be used an hour after weightlifting. White rice is also calorie dense. You can get a small portion of it for lots and lots of calories. Now, sourdough is amazing, calorie dense. Pasta, amazing. Oats, amazing, calorie dense. They're also high in fiber. So some people you will hear say are good for fat loss. Now, this is where you'll see my opinion differ from other fitness coaches and other coaches online. They'll say that oats is amazing for fat loss and going into a deficit because it has fiber content, which is true, which slows down your digestion. I've put it as good for building your muscle as a skinny guy because you can have so much of it for so little quantity. In terms of calories, it's so high in calories. You can have a normal bowl and it can rack up to easily with a squirt of honey on it, with some berries on it, with some toppings on it, with maybe some granola like you've got down here. It can literally be 1,000 calories easily. That is straight into your blood, bang, straight into your belly. You're gonna be putting on muscle easier. Also bagels, also wraps as well. Tortillas are like 150 to 200 calories per one. You're adding almost 400 calories if you have 2 wraps just from the packaging of it. Eat as many carbs as your calorie allowance allows. Fats, very useful. Avocados, olive oil, nuts, 80% dark chocolate. As I said, yolks are amazing in the eggs. You should never be just eating egg whites if you're trying to build muscle when you're skinny. Always eat the whole egg. Same with salmon, same with peanut butter, cheese and butter. Eat enough fats to support your health and add calories if needed. 0.3 to 0.5 grams per pound of your body weight. And veg. Now, eat a small quantity of vegetables with your meals. Only there for all-round health, but too high in volume for too little calories. So don't go crazy. Now, a lot of people won't tell you this, but vegetables, when you're trying to bulk up and trying to get as many calories as possible for little bites, it is working against you. Unless you've got a crazy appetite, which I'm assuming you don't, because you're skinny, then yes, have some veg, of course, for your all-round health. But do not be stacking up loads of veg, having loads of salads and filling yourself up with it. Just have the minimum amount. So to sum it up as a skinny guy, small surplus equals build muscle with less fat gain. A large surplus means more weight gain, but not all of that more weight gain will be muscle. There will be some fat there. Then we're moving on to the skinny fat guy. If you're a skinny fat guy, we're going to go down here because your goal is lose fat and build muscle. Small calorie deficit. Lose fat slowly while giving your muscles what they need to grow. Your starting target is use a small deficit, usually no more than around 300 to 500 calories. If you go more than 500 calories of your true maintenance, then you go into the danger zone. I'll talk about that in another video. The leaner and more you understand your body, the smaller the deficit may need to be. Now, proteins. I've differentiated high fats and low fats here. Keep protein high to protect your muscle. Do I need to say this again at the bottom? I'm going to say it again. 1 gram per pound of body weight. Going to keep drilling it into you. Now, these are the high fat options. So these are very healthy for you. You just need to be conscious of them because they're a lot higher in calories. Eggs are amazing. But when you have 10 eggs like I used to, that's racking up to 800 to 1,000 calories. It's very, very high in calories. That might be half or over half of your daily calories. Obviously, I'm not saying you're going to have 10 eggs, but that was my regular. It racks up because of the fat percentage. But you've got chicken breast, you've got turkey breast, you've got 5% fat beef mince. Again, these are the low fat options. 2% fat turkey mince. If you're in America, you've got 99% turkey mince. One of my clients, Ethan, shout out to you, Ethan, 99% turkey mince. That's 1% fat. You guys are lucky. Also, tuna in a tin. No, I wouldn't have loads of these. Mercury poisoning. Nah. I've never had it. I used to abuse tuna when I was uneducated. And I'm not saying I'm uneducated because I had tuna, but I was uneducated because I thought the only way to get lean was 1,500 calories and eating 2 to 5 tins of tuna every single day with just cucumber. That is killing you. That was killing me. Do not do that, but it's a very good way to put in a wrap if you're, on the move or you just don't have time to be eating. I always put it in a wrap with a bit of sweet chili sauce. Ooh, sorry, mate. Getting out of hand. But low fat options, same as Greek yogurt. You see how we're just making these switches from the skinny guy side? 10% fat, 5% fat because you want more calories over here. Here you're having the exact same, you're just swapping it out for the 0% fat. These are amazing, unbelievable if you can get Skyr. I think they're basically the same macros, but they're just both unbelievable. Greek yogurt is like 250 calories for like 40 to 50 grams of protein. You don't get much better than that. Shrimp or prawns, whitefish, unreal whitefish. Then obviously you're going to get the low fat cottage cheese. Whey protein if you need. If you need, that's a key. I am not a big fan of it. I've got 5 kilograms of it in my kitchen downstairs. Haven't touched it in about 6 months because I prefer to get my protein from whole food sources. It's always better to do that. But having some protein powder here and there is not going to kill you, and it's a good way to get in some extra protein for very low calories. Some of these protein powders can be like 80 to 100 calories for like 20 to 25 grams of protein. Those macros are unbelievable using the 1 to 10 protein to calorie rule. Now we move over to carbs, and you're starting to see my favorite carb source, sweet potatoes and potatoes. Sweet potatoes, in my opinion, are better. You can get so much volume, so much quantity for very little calories. The same with potatoes, but you can also get the higher fiber content in the sweet potatoes. I think they're like 30 to 35. I think they're 33% higher in fiber, which then slows down your digestion again. If you eat sweet potatoes when you're trying to lose fat, it's gonna make it so much easier. Again, same old around workouts for fast digesting. Once protein is hit, fill the rest of your day with carbs within your calorie allowance. Little spell check error there. I'm not changing it because I don't care about that. Then we move over to fats. You've got avocados, olive oil, nuts. Nuts are an amazing source of fats. Anyone that tells you they're an amazing source of protein doesn't know what they're talking about. They're a waffler. Slap them in the face and never talk to them again. I'm joking. Don't do that. 80% or above, or 70% really, but 80% is better. The higher the cocoa content inside the dark chocolate, the better. Egg yolks, salmon, same foods. You just utilize them differently depending on your goal. Keep portions controlled because fats contain a lot of calories, as we talked about. 9 calories per gram for fats. Protein and carbs are 4 calories per gram. Now, vegetables, you're starting to see the value of vegetables. Have plenty of vegetables if you're trying to lose fat and build muscle. They fill up your plate and they help keep you full for fewer calories. This is where you get the mass amount of volume for like 50 to 100 calories. It's ridiculous. Small deficit plus high protein plus weight training equals you'll lose fat while building or keeping the muscle at a bare minimum, but we want to be building it. So you have to get very specific with your numbers. Now we're moving on to the more overweight fella right here. If you've got too much fat, then your goal is to lose fat. Calorie deficit this requires. Eat fewer calories than your body uses or burns. That's what it means. Starting target, like I said before above, around 500 to 1,000 calories below your maintenance. A bigger deficit can make weight loss faster, but it also increases the risk of losing muscle. Again, this depends on how much fat you're holding. You are not going to risk losing as much muscle or losing muscle at all if you've got loads of fat. If you're having adequate amount of protein and your weight training, your body is going to go for your fat stores for the energy. So we go to protein. These are high in fats. These are low in fats. The same things apply. I'm not going to go over it again. It's the exact same thing as losing fat and building muscle. Your portion sizes are just going to be different. This is what I'm saying. A lot of people ask me, what's the best food? What's the best food for this? There's no best food. I don't have any different foods. I change my portion sizes. So these are the exact same low fat options as you saw before and high fat options. You want to construct your meals like this. Again, 1 gram per pound of body weight. You've heard it before. Carbs around training, these. Not around training, these. Do not want them around training. Why? I'll mention it one more time. High fiber content, which means it slows down your digestion. You want things that are fast digesting, which are these, sugar and carbs. Fast digesting means no fat and no fiber content. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, amazing. Medjool dates are the king. I don't see them talked about enough. Honey, unbelievable. Banana, rice cakes. You can have all of these on top of rice cakes if you want to get extra cheeky and your calories allow. And then white rice 1 hour after training with a lean protein source. Once protein is here, fill the rest of your day with carbs within your calorie allowance. Fats, now obviously they're calorie dense like we've talked about. So beware, which is the big warning sign right here. Same fats though, avocado, olive oil, nuts, dark chocolate, egg, especially the egg yolks, and the fatty salmon fillet. Keep portions controlled because fats contain a lot of calories. Veg, this is where you get the most amount of value out of the veg if you're just trying to go into a deep deficit. Eat plenty of vegetables, they fill your plate and will help you keep fuller for longer. Small deficit equals lose fat and protect your muscle. A large deficit means faster weight loss, but more risk of losing the muscle. Now that is the video, guys. I know it was short and sweet. It probably wasn't short. How long we were recording for? 30 minutes is absolutely ridiculous. I managed to waffle on something that is this small, but I want to go in depth so that you understand how to do this yourself. You have to construct your meals like this. It makes it so much easier if you construct your meals like this because the foods don't really change. It's just the portion sizes, and you have to be very specific with your numbers, especially if you want to lose fat and build muscle as a skinny fat guy. But if you are struggling to do all of this, because let's be honest, this isn't enough. You need to know specifically when to eat the right carbs, how to eat them, depending on your schedule, depending on everything that is specific to you, because you're not just some number that can be fixed and your problems can be fixed with a ChatGPT workout. You need a specific solution to you, whatever your name is, John, Mark, Leon. You need a specific solution to you. So if you need that extra hand, then reach out for any questions with my Instagram link in the description. The client results recently have been absolutely insane. I'm so proud of all of my guys in America. I've got guys in Germany. I've got guys in the UK where I am. I'm going out to meet as many of my clients in training sessions as possible. But if you need that extra hand and you do want to work one-to-one and you think coaching might be for you, I don't accept everyone onto my program. I've only got 24 hours in a day. But if you think coaching might be for you, there's going to be a Calendly link in the description to work with me one-to-one. And that call will be to book a call with me one-to-one. Not a member of my team, me, because it's personalized to you. So if you think that's good, we'll get on, we'll have a chat, talk about your goals, talk about where you want to get to, where you are right now. But if that is something you're interested in, that Calendly link will be in the description to talk to me. Instagram will be in the description as well, so go over there, check that out and reach out to me with any questions. But I appreciate you watching the video yet again. Like, comment and subscribe, please, because I've got so much more content on the way, and leave any feedback if you are enjoying. I'll see you in the next one, fella.